Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Matt, the vocals of Cryptopsy, and you're listening to my podcast, Vox&Hops, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians and talk about their lives, music, and craft beer. Today on the podcast, I am not with a musician. I am with someone that musicians hang out with a lot, and someone who makes musicians sound really, really good. Today on the podcast, I am with Rob Sherred, the sound man extraordinaire, whom I had the chance to sit down with back in May and pick his brain about doing live sound for extreme metal acts. So here it is, Vox&Hops, episode number 68 with Rob Sherred.
I warn you, what you are about to hear is very disturbing indeed.
What's up, everybody? Today I'm with Rob Sherred, and we are at the Crowbar and Brewery in Oslo, Norway.
We are.
How the fuck you been, bud? It's been a while. Last time I saw you, we were mentioning, was at Hellfest, I want to say 2 summers ago?
Yeah, with Obituary and Autopsy.
Yeah, you've been busy. You're always busy. Tell the people what you do.
I'm a sound man. I mix a lot of death, black, extreme metal. I've been doing it for a very long time. I guess 25 years touring now.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's fun. Puts food on the table, I guess, when I'm at home.
What brought you to Norway?
I was working with a lot of Norwegian bands. I was working with a band with you guys years ago, before you were in the band, called She Said Destroy.
Who you mentioned were going to come out tonight and check out the gig.
Yes, I believe a couple of guys are going to come along.
So they were playing at the Blah Club, which you've told me
means blue.
Blue.
Yes.
Which nothing is blue in it, so...
It's just very dark and old, but yeah.
How did you get into this crazy world of mixing bands?
It's my mother's fault.
Really?
She used to work admin in a theatre back in the UK, and for summer I was doing nothing. I was one of those kids who just went around on his bike and skateboarding and broke windows and stuff like that, I'm guessing. And she said, come in and hang out with the guys backstage. And on one day I saw a mixing desk and I was like, what's that? What does it do? And the guy called Jason Morfitt just said, I'll teach you. And it all went downhill from there.
What is your favorite thing about mixing bands?
I like a challenge. Because some bands, like a 4-piece black metal band, it's okay, but sometimes there's a Norwegian band I'm working with called Trollfest, who incorporate a lot of extreme metal. They refer to themselves as true Norwegian Balkan metal. The black metal guys in Norway are not big fans, obviously, but in Germany, they love it. It's kind of folk stuff, but it's 7 guys. There's saxophones, accordions,
Trollfest,
7 vocals, and a Britney Spears cover.
Which song?
Toxic. I'll send you a link to it.
I want to see this. I'll put it in the description.
Okay, it's a lot of fun. They just have fun. We've just been out for 5 weeks with Korpiklani, kind of a big Finnish folk metal
Super
band.
Huge, that band. I've seen them. I've played with them at festivals there, and I've watched them. The crowd just goes off for them.
No one can understand a word because it's Finnish. I don't know. I think everything's about drinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are at the Crow Brew and Brew House, and we ordered. I used to love IPAs.
Yeah.
And this is an West Coast IPA, I have the feeling.
Yeah.
It's very yellowish pale, almost like a blonde in color. It has a lot of effervescence. We can see it.
Yeah.
Not quite hazy. Let's see what it smells like. It smells smooth. It smells almost like apple juice. Cheers.
Cheers. Salut. For Norway. Skål.
Skål.
Yep.
Oh, it's good. It's really weird. It's very piney.
Good.
Very piney. Super drinkable.
Yep.
I love craft beers so much. Are you a craft beer enthusiast?
I am. Yeah. Not a big fan of the sour stuff. I do like a lot of American IPAs. Every time I go to the US, it's normally Sereno, Nevada, or Lunitas, if I said that correctly.
Lagunitas.
Yes. I said it wrong.
Yes.
And Stone as well.
Yes, of course. Yes.
There's a few places in Oslo you can buy such drinks, but it's obviously Oslo, so it's a bit pricey. But
so what got you into craft beer? If you could just remember that one beer that just turned your mind.
I think growing up, my next door neighbour, or he wasn't my uncle, but I grew up with him. They had a village pub in the middle of Essex, which is also the post office, the local convenience store. And I spent summers there just with Stuart and Eileen and just helping out. And one day said, do you want to try this Green King beer, which is an old English brewery? It's not like a Pilsner, it's not fizzy, it's a proper
Ale.
English beer.
So it's flat and
Yeah.
re-fermented in the
Not a
the
big
casks.
fan of the fizzy beers. Like if you're going out for a night or you're working, you can't drink loads. Then with IPAs, it's sociable. And I just kind of liked the taste of it and just kind of carried on.
There is a different like culture clash between the American keeping your kids out of bars until they're like of drinking age, or they are smart enough to sneak in somehow. Whereas in Britain, you grow up in pubs because you go there for dinner with your mom and dad, and you have family there and you hang up there.
Yeah,
I find it very interesting. How do you feel that shaped your beer palate?
I think it helped. Because I wasn't really into cider and stuff like that. I did sit in the park and drink a bottle of Thunderbird Blue or Red when I was a kid. But it's just kind of, cider was not really my thing. But having a proper beer, it was just nice to have, and I just kind of carried on.
Do you remember your first experience with beer?
Yes. It was just my uncle. I think I was helping cleaning the lines when we used to have Guinness and stuff like that. And I remember actually not being a fan of Guinness for a few years because when we were changing the barrel, it had an old system. And if you didn't tap it correctly, it would explode.
Oh, shit.
And I was covered in Guinness for like a whole day. And he just looked at me and I told you did it wrong. And I was just like, yeah. So that was I know Guinness is not really a beer, it's a stout, but that's how I learned the hard way. I was drinking Guinness in the UK the other day though, so
it's you sort of have to when you're there. I did it when I went to Ireland. It's like this staple thing that you have to do.
Yes.
To have a proper pint of Guinness. When I'm at home, I absolutely don't drink Guinness. I go for more heavy, alcohol-y, boozy, flavorful stouts.
Yeah. As the chocolate ale's good. In Norway, we have Christmas ales. So the local breweries like Ås, Hansa, Yingnes make their own Christmas beer. So people are going out for their Christmas parties, work dues, and drinking 3 of them. And that stuff's strong.
Yeah, and it's delicious.
It's dangerous, but it's great. But there's some really good beers they've done.
Speaking about Norway and the breweries, can you name off some of your favorite brew pubs, breweries? Like if you go out and buy a beer, what do you go gravitate towards?
I like Ås. The Pilsner's good. They've done a couple of IPAs. I tend to try and find American flavouring. The Ås brewery, they do the Inferno Metal Festival beer. And each year they do a tasting like 2 months before, so the beer tastes completely different, but it tastes like a Sierra Nevada, the Torpedo, but not as strong, but it tastes strong. And that's the kind of thing I would go for. If I go to a bar, it's like, okay, I can have 20 different lagers, or go for a IPA or an APA or a stout, and I always choose the latter.
Cheers.
This
one's really good. It's very drinkable.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this. I used to love IPAs. I still do. Switch gears to touring.
Yes.
You started out just learning sound in your tiny theater. When did it become like a real thing that you got involved with bands? I
guess I was going to shows when I was 15, 16. One of the first shows I went to, I guess it was way back in 1986. My older sister was taking me to shows. She was into extreme metal or a lot of thrash metal. She said, come and see this band with me. And I was like, do Mum and Dad know? They don't need to know.
Do you remember what band it was?
Testament.
Oh, fucking
And I was just like, I was listening to stuff like Saxon, Priest, Motorhead. Then I was like, this stuff's a bit more heavier and harder. And it just went with it. And I was going to lots of shows, I guess around 89, 90. 89, I saw the very first Grind Crusher tour, which was Morbid Angel, Napalm Death, Bolt Thrower and Carcass. And I became friends with the guys in Bolt Thrower. And every time they played in London, I would go and see them and move all their gear for them for free, not realising you can get paid for it. Now I know.
Yeah. You got to get your way into the door.
I go in there and I became friends with lots of bands because I ended up being introduced to the Autopsy guys like way back in the day, and now I'm fortunate to work with those guys. It's been a few years now since we've done a show because they don't exactly come to Europe that much. And same with Bolt Thrower, they became Memoriam after Kitty passed away, and I mix those guys now. So it's just a long friendship of like 30 years, I guess, of knowing all these I guess, death metal legends or old men of rock, whatever you want to call them.
They're just your friends and family now.
Yeah. That's,
Do you like to find bands to work for that you get that vibe that it's like a family or versus the employee?
With some bands, it's been a business. It's like, okay, at the end of the day, I'll get my paycheck, maybe have a drink if there's alcohol allowed on the rider. With some bands, haven't had alcohol on the rider. Won't go into it. Another band, longer story, but I'm not with them anymore. But they're Swedish and they play black metal.
Hints.
Yeah. A lot of the bands now, I'm fortunate to work with bands who I want to work with. Like I'm working with Balkangar. I've been with them 10 years, and they're some of my best friends. Same with Memoriam. Same with the Autopsy guys. Same with the Trollfest guys. I'm fortunate to have friends. I love working and touring with like Carpathian Forest. They're one of the craziest bands around, but these guys off stage, they're just nice guys. They like to party like everyone does, but we've had some ups and downs with shows, but everyone does. But they're some of my best friends as well.
Sometimes you win and sometimes you lose.
Yes.
It's something that I've had to learn in the business, and I used to take everything very personal.
Yeah.
And now I just sort of just let it roll. And sometimes you just want to win more than you're losing.
Totally. Yep.
What would be one of the worst days that you've experienced on tour? I'm sure you have a few.
Missed flights, missed equipment, being in a country you don't know and no one speaks a word of English. It's like Latin America could be really difficult when you're trying to check in and they just look at you and we don't know what you're talking about. It's like I was in China with Moonsorrow years ago, and I was dropped off the airport, ran to check in. I think I got half an hour to check in, and like 45 minutes later my flight's taken off. Ran up to check in, the guy just looked at me and said, wrong airport.
No.
I was dropped off at the wrong airport. And the next airport was a 20-minute drive away, so I just ran out and just held this black cab down, and I just gave him whatever money I had, and he was just like put his foot down in fifth gear the whole way there. Got there in 10 minutes.
To the other airport, and you made it?
Yeah, I just about made it, and I had to fly via Russia, and it was just Aeroflot, not the best airline in the world.
What was the airline? Sorry.
Aeroflot.
Okay.
It's the Russian airline.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's an experience. I was expecting potatoes and vodka on the flight, but I don't know what I ate, but it was something weird.
Belarus Airlines gave us a cucumber sandwich with a slice of cheese. I do remember that.
You still got it.
Oh, Eastern Europe.
Yes.
What would be your favorite place to tour?
I have some favourite venues to go to. Actually,
okay, that's good. Yeah.
In Holland, in Tilburg, 013.
Absolutely, that's where this tour started off.
Love that place. I've been there, I think, 4 times so far this year on different tours and festivals.
Great hospitality. Shout out to all the local crew. You guys are fucking amazing.
Awesome guys. Yeah. Rianne, she's great with everyone. And she always, every time I go there, she gives me crap. Because I've known her for so many years. There's Z7 in Switzerland.
Okay, no, I don't know that one.
You guys need to go there. It's probably the best catering in Europe. You're so looked after. The local crew, got Frankie who does monitors. Can never remember the name of the house guy, but he's a super cool guy. There's a lot of venues. Backstage, Munich is always good.
Yeah.
Markt Hall in Hamburg's. That's pretty cool, apart from the lift. That's a nightmare for loading in.
What makes and breaks a venue for you?
If you got a good production team, good promoter who basically has done his homework, because I tour manage a lot of bands as well. So when I'm saying, do you have this, do you have that, this guy is lactose intolerant, does he have his certain diet, and everything's there, it's great, I'm happy. For me, if the band are happy, I'm happy.
It's always good to have a tour manager that's not a band member.
Yes.
You know, I don't mind selling shirts and stuff. I can do all that. But the TM, to be like the face of the band and be the bad guy if you have to be, it's always best if it's not a band member, in my experience.
I've had to be the bad guy before, and I've had promoters telling me I'm being unreasonable. It's like, well, we've had no rider, we have no buyout, we have nothing to eat and drink, there's no showers. It's like, I just want to keep the artist happy. Yeah,
where's the hotel room and
yes,
after show pizzas.
Yeah, then he's like, can we not have pizzas today?
Yeah, or kebabs. I could take a kebab.
I'll be happy for a cheese and cucumber sandwich sometimes, to be honest.
What would be your tactic if a promoter doesn't want to settle?
I always try to be polite as possible and just make sure the band are happy, and I try to do the best I can. There's been a few occasions I've had to ring up the booking agent and say, like, guy, this is not happening. We have no advance payment for the show, and they want us to be here. They want to take a percentage of shirts. There's been times I've nearly pulled shows.
You've stopped the show?
I've nearly done it
Really?
a few times. I've said, okay, you've got 5 minutes to get this sorted, or we don't play.
You don't drive people to ATMs?
I have done that before.
What's that story? You can leave out bad names.
It was a long time ago in the UK, and the guy was saying, "Oh, I will pay you after the show," and it's just like, well, it was in Italy actually with a Norwegian band, and the guy was like, "Oh, can I pay you in drugs?" It's like, well. Drugs don't exactly pay the mortgage at the end of the day, and it doesn't pay for the crew, it doesn't pay for the band, it doesn't pay for flights. And he was just saying, "Oh, but I'll keep you guys happy." It's like, but none of the band are into this.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were because you're a band. It's like, no, you need to get this arranged now, or you lose your headline band.
Jesus.
Then you have to go on stage to apologise to the 700 people who want to see this band.
There's 700 people and he couldn't pay you. Unbelievable.
Yeah. Then 5 minutes before the show, he came up with a big bag of money and said, "Do you want to count it?" I said, "I'm about to start my band, but I'll keep it under the desk." And
wow.
It was all there plus a bit extra.
There you go. Okay.
So it was arranged, but I spoke to the booker about it.
So you're not like an aggressive in your face. I'm gonna steal your console.
No.
None of that.
There was one issue actually on a tour with Dark Funeral in Christian a few years ago in France, where a phone disappeared from backstage.
Like a cellular phone.
A cell phone disappeared from backstage. No one knew where it was. And some merch was stolen because they gave the merch girl this huge table, and she was selling merch for 2 bands. It can happen. A lot of people turn up and just, there's a box there, see what's in it, walk away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they had security cameras, but no video footage. And I said, okay, you got 10 minutes to get this phone found, or I'm calling the cops. And I went to the back of the trailer because I was doing the loadout. And I thought, I'm going to make an impression. I'm going to start shouting and swearing and just like banging on the side of the inside the van,
just to show, though,
just to go, oh, there's an angry English guy. And 2 minutes later, we found the phone by the bar. And I was just like, okay, at least you found the phone. So I spoke to the booker about it, and the booker just said, oh yeah, really sorry about that. Must be one of the local guys. The thing is, to get to the backstage, you had to go in an elevator 2 floors up.
Oh.
Catering to go to the dressing room.
What the fuck, eh?
I had a production room, all my stuff was in there, nothing went missing, but the phone went walkies. It was found, but I spoke to a band who were playing there a month later because I saw their poster, and I rang the guy up and said, when you go there,
watch your shit. Yeah.
When you go in there, grab a microphone and say, I'm going to keep this until the end of the night when all our gear is returned, and you'll get it back. And apparently the venue was just like, what do you mean? I said, well, because this guy was here last month, and obviously it's a small community, everyone knows each other. Then it's like, oh, really sorry. I won't say the band who did it, but...
No, of course not. No.
But it was kind of funny getting an email saying, I did what you said. That was funny.
It worked.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned it being a small family.
Yeah.
How easy is it? Have you gotten jobs because you've worked with people? And
yeah, like with the Carpathian Forest guys, 3 of the guys playing on a band called Svartjan. It's a Norwegian black metal band. They're great guys, and they played Inferno this year and saying, do you want to mix us as well? Because we're playing, and at least we know it will sound good and things will be organised. So that happens with some bands, which is great. So,
what you mentioned Inferno.
Mm-hmm.
You had mixed me personally with Cryptopsy.
That was
at Blastfest.
Blastfest, yes.
What is your opinion about Blastfest? Do you think it will come back?
No.
That
won't. The year after, it was just a Norwegian edition of just every band was Norwegian.
That's right. That's right. It's a great idea.
Great idea, but there was issues with payments and stuff like that. Some people got paid, some people didn't get paid. I'm not going to say anything completely because I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I've heard from other bands and stuff, some had got half the guarantees, some got the full payment.
It was probably sold out. It was sold out when we did it.
Yes.
So, yeah. Shout out to Bolt. No disrespect. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think might be trying to do something again. I haven't seen him for a while, so...
Okay. I don't know if he's back in Blood Red Throne. I think he is.
He's still there.
Okay, cool. Because we did one tour with them after that, and he wasn't there, and then he came back.
They've got a new album out soon.
Good.
So
yeah.
I know
Shout out to those boys, too. Yeah.
They're still around. So.
Yeah, Blood Red Throne. You should listen. Check them out. When I tour the UK... We do the whole Euro run, and you get catering every day when you show up, and then you go to the UK, and everything changes. Why is that? You know, you get worse food, horrible conditions most of the time. The showers are either non-existent or
just cold.
Just cold.
Just cold. It's either freezing cold or very
cold. The catering
cold.
gets worse. Why is that?
I actually left the UK 11 years ago, but I've noticed the touring scene in the UK is very different to as it used to be. I think it's hard for venues to stay up and running because they have to pay so much PRS, which is the Performing Rights Society. They have to pay so
just
much
to have a show go on.
Yeah,
okay.
So they have to pay a lot more overheads just to have a concert.
Got it, yeah.
So they don't really have the funds for say, okay, this is the full variety, you want this, you want that, so we can give you the basics we can. With some festivals, they've got it organised, and some festivals, not so much.
I've yet to play a big fest in the UK. I'd love to. I'd love to do Download, right? You guys have Download?
Yeah. Bloodstock would be a good one for you guys.
Was really, really, really what I'd like to
There's
do.
one in Glasgow called Lord of the Lands.
Yes.
We did that with Autopsy a couple of years ago.
Do you like mixing more than one band, or are you like, I'm only going to mix one band tonight? How do you feel about that?
Well, a few weeks ago, I was at Neverland Death Fest day after you guys, and I had Carpathian Forest, and straight after us, Unleashed were playing. So I thought, I know the guys, I've known them for many years, I'm going to mix them as well. Because I thought, yeah, I can't watch them and see the house guy do it. I have to do it.
It can be painful.
But it's a hard room.
Yeah.
It is a hard room, actually.
I love playing in the Netherlands because I feel like the government really puts a lot of money into the arts, and there's all these beautiful venues, and you walk into any little city and there's this huge venue that has like multiple rooms that will cater to multiple different size
and
crowds.
And also clean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and the great gear. Yeah. There's the one in, I'm going to say it wrong there because it's not pronounced like this, but for me it's like it's spelled out like this in my English way. Nijmegen. Nijmegen?
Oh, Nijmegen.
Let's say you say it right. Yeah.
Nijmegen, I don't know.
Niels, you're going to laugh at me for saying it. You made fun of me.
I think it's Nijmegen. N-I-J.
There's a J in there, yeah.
Yeah, I know the Asphyx guys will kill me for just making fun of their Dutch. There you go.
And they have this like lift in there where you pull your bus in.
Oh, it's the one that picks it up, turns it around, puts it down.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
The last time I was there was with Dark Funeral, and it put the bus down in the water tank split.
Oh.
Because of the pressure, so the driver just fixed it with some gaffer tape.
Really?
Yeah, it was cool though. I like that venue.
My question of mixing many bands was built upon if you could like put together your own tour of just all your best friends living on a bus together, what bands would those be? You could mix like people from the 90s too.
Ooh,
like a dream thing.
Wow. That would be a weird, diverse lineup. I always have fun mixing Autopsy, but they're all family guys, and they do the shows when they want to do the shows. It'd be nice to have them, I guess, maybe a 4-man bill, having Unleashed playing it, getting some old school death metal bands playing. I'd love to mix Saxon one day, actually.
Yeah, that'd be
I'd love to mix them.
Do they still play?
Yeah, they're still
awesome.
around. I met the guys a few years ago at Grasspop. Played a game of pool with them, very drunk.
Grasspop's another UK one, right?
It's Belgium.
Belgium. Yes, that's right.
That's a good festival, actually.
So many fests. I love it. Yeah. I'm not doing any this summer. It sucks.
I'm trying to think who else. Maybe someone like Primus.
Yeah.
Just keep it very diverse, because Primus I've seen a couple of times, and that's just one crazy band.
What would be the challenge of mixing Primus?
Not knowing what's going to happen next, I guess. Trying to be, it's like playing chess. You need to be one move ahead or 2 moves ahead. But that would be a fun band to do, so, because there's a lot going on. Because it's not all funk, pop, or jazz. It's just a lot of other stuff. So,
what would be something that would make your gig just horrible? You're in the middle of a gig and something happens.
Normally having a very drunk artist on stage.
That was going to be my next question.
That's always can be a tricky one. And sometimes
how do you mask it, or can you?
Well, sometimes it's the drummer or the guitarist. I've worked with an artist years ago, and the guy was playing and just saying, "Can't hear him in my monitor. Can't hear him in my monitor." Hadn't even turned his amp on. And it's just like, wow, one of these shows, yeah. And I've physically had to go through the crowd and just walk on stage and go, look, click. And he's like, oh, it's a bit loud. It's like, continue. Normally, a singer I've had before, he's been like singing the set, and he'll be singing the wrong song.
Because he's too drunk?
Yeah, he would just be making up the lyrics to a really big band singing the classic song. It's like having Kiss singing I want to rock and roll.
Yeah.
But with the wrong lyrics. And it's just like, you're singing, what are you singing? I've had that.
There is something tricky about booze, though, because you step up on stage and you're lost. It happened to me once, and I watch myself very carefully before shows now. Very, very carefully, because...
Well, I don't actually drink before shows anymore.
We're here to play the show, primarily. You know, it's fun to have fun and to check stuff out and to taste some great beers. That's why I call it tasting beers versus drinking beers.
But sometimes you still have to do the office job at the end of the day.
We're here for a reason.
Yes.
You know, I'm away from my family for a reason. It's fun to hang out with friends, but that time on stage is why I'm here. Yeah. So it deserves the utmost respect and attention.
I've done the bad things drinking before the shows, and I remember years ago when I was on a gin and tonic phase and did a sound for this a local band. I did their EP for them. Sound check sounded great and said, "Oh, we got you a bottle of gin. Have one now." I said, "Oh, I better not. Go on, just have one." I was like, "All right, I'll have one." One turned into two turned into four, and it got to say the band started. I'm looking at them and I hadn't turned on the PA.
Oh my!
And I was just like, "Whoops." Didn't get the gig again after that.
Learning experience.
So I learnt the hard way. So now I don't. Sometimes I'll have one small beer
with supper, you know, or something,
and that's it. I like to keep my ears fresh if I can. So.
That's another thing too, because your ears will change if you're drunk. I've heard.
It's every time you have one drink. I've been told it's 2 dB off your hearing.
Really?
Same if you dairy products, cigarettes, ear, nose, and throat, all connected.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Mm-hmm. Crazy. You mentioned that you recorded an EP. So have you ever gone to the studio aspect of it? Do you do that?
I don't.
You dabbled in it, or
I have done. Back in the UK, I basically helped set up a whole Pro Tools studio at my old job. It was a venue, recording facilities, and rehearsal rooms. So I basically played around and set everything up, but it's not for me. I get bored. That's why I like live stuff, because it's not like you can stop it and go back and say, let's do another take. It's there. You can't change it. So I like the challenge. So
what is really the difference? It's too... It's not quick enough for you? You have like an ADD?
Possibly an OCD and yeah.
All the acronyms.
I'm guessing so, yeah. I've literally got letters after my name. Sorry.
I would love to have stayed late tonight, but we gotta jump off and make our way to Hamburg tomorrow, sadly.
Yep.
I really appreciate you sitting down, Vox&Hops. Rob Sherred.
Not a problem.
Absolutely appreciate it. We're gonna hang out some more, but not with you guys. Cheers. Hey, thank you all so much for listening right to the end. You know that I love and appreciate that. Rob is such a cool guy. We had such a great time after this. We kept hanging out in the bar. We had a few more drinks. It was fun. Oslo was a cool city. This is the first time that I'm going to announce this on the podcast. Vox&Hops is going to be having its 1-year anniversary on October 26th at Turbo House in Montreal on St. Denis Street. It's going to be an epic, awesome night. I am super excited. I've invited all of the Vox&Hops alumni to come down to the party if they can make it, if they are in this part of the world. They will try to come out and hang out with me and all of you Vox&Hops heads that want to come out and hang out with us. I actually brewed a beer for this event, and it was such a great experience. I had never brewed a beer before. It was so exciting. It was a lot of harder work than I thought it would be, but it was super, super enjoyable, and I'm excited to share the very first Vox&Hops collaboration with Le Fermentor, who happened to be Vox&Hops alumni. Way back at the beginning of Vox&Hops, on episode 3, I did Patrick Martin, who has his own craft beer bar in l'Assomption, Quebec, called Le Fermentor. So I went and I did a collaboration brew with Le Fermentor, and I'm super excited to share it at the party. There will also be a live podcast, the very first ever live Vox&Hops podcast with an extremely cool mystery guest who I'll announce in the next few weeks. So I'm super stoked. Check the Facebook event, which I have included in the description of this podcast, to get more information and to stay up to date. I hope you have a great weekend, and remember to enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. Cheers, Vox&Hops heads.